Tonight, we're talking about what Auburn football players improve their stock. Let's spring. Let's get it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go, Uptempo family, Auburn family. What is up, everybody? Dustin Smith and Blake Lane are in the building. A Tuesday night live show like we always do. The vibes are high over here, Blake. Portal opened up today. No big news for Auburn yet, man. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great right now. The Auburn baseball Tigers are up 8-3 over Georgia Tech, a rivalry that goes back 100+ years. We had a lot of bangers over the last couple of years, especially last year. I mean, that one was one for the ages. So hopefully we can hold off this lead and get things going in the right direction in SEC play. I don't want to give up on these dudes, man. I love them to death, but hopefully we can find a dub tonight. But I am ready to talk about some Auburn football, Dustin.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And before we get into it, let's holler at the people. Our regular Chris, that beard looking nice on that picture, Chris. I see you, buddy, doing it. Chris is in there. He needs some portal intel. We'll definitely get at you, buddy. I am hoping for that big D lineman from Indiana. Y'all know that. We need to beef up that interior D line. Our guy Brett is here as always. Our guy Brad been supporting us from day one. We appreciate you, Brad. Man, the usuals are in here. Connie is here as always. Connie, we appreciate you. Thomas Manville in the building. Thomas, we're beefing up that O-line, brother. We're beefing up that O-line. How'd you feel about that Corday Smith commitment? Listen, I'm feeling good, man. Blake, let's get right into it, dude. Let's talk about some guys. We're going to start over here on the offensive side. I want to talk about some guys that you feel like improve stock. Now, I think that Peyton Thorne is kind of the obvious one here, so let's steer away from that just because I think it's kind of obvious to say that a guy came in, they said, hey, open QB competition, and then he comes in and he kind of nails it down. So let's leave the quarterback out of it, man. Just give me a couple guys on offense that you feel like, okay, you had to make something happen and you did, or maybe you just weren't expecting it and now their name's in the rotation.
I'll give you one that I'm really proud of. I'm excited for him, and I'm glad, and that's Camden Brown. I think Camden Brown showed up to the table, and he said, "Hey, I'm here to work. I'm here to get better, and this is do or die, and I got to bring it." And he brought it, and he looked pretty good throughout the spring, and I think he's going to earn himself some playing time, and you know. Look, we can sit here and we can say that quarterback and Hank Brown and Peyton Thorne, and we can go through that battle and Holden Garner go into the transfer portal. But it was do or die for Camden. And we saw the drop pass at A&M, and we saw the, I'll call it loafing against Maryland. I think he's a better player than that. And it was just to the point where a lot of the fan base was saying, hey, we know you're a four-star guy. When we got you, there was a lot of hype around you. We need you to show up. We need you to catch the football. We need you to go up and get a 50-50 ball. He showed out this spring. I'm really excited about him. I'll stick at receiver again, and I'll say Bryce Kane, a guy that we hear a lot of stuff in bowl practice, and we hear a lot of stuff throughout spring practice, and just his speed. There's some things that we can do with him on the outside and get the ball in his hands and let him make plays. He's a guy that at first I thought, Dustin, when we were watching him last year, I was like, hey, he's probably going to redshirt. And now I don't think he is going to redshirt. I think we're going to have to put him on the football field. But those two guys, just looking at the outside, those two guys I'm really pleased with, because I think that's the one area that Auburn needs the most is we got to have the wide receiver. And we know we got Cam Coleman and what he's going to do, but we got to have the playmakers on the outside. This offense has got to go. It's the one position. We can sit here and talk about offensive line all we want, but it's the one position that killed us last year. Just one play that is just went over and over in my head is Amari Kelly down the seam last year, and Peyton Thorne puts one on the money, and it goes right through his hands. Right? Vandy made a little push in that game, in the late third, early fourth quarter and brought it back within 2 scores. And if you make that catch, that game's out of reach. It looks way worse than it did on the scoreboard. And it's just plays like that, man. We talk every episode about plays that we got to make downfield to be a different football team. And we highlight it in each game. If our wide receivers make this play, are we a 6-7 football team? Probably beat Georgia. Probably beat a couple of other teams. And I think the one against Georgia hurts the most because they've been our daddy. They've been our daddy lately. So when I look on the outside, I see these two guys. I'm really pleased. I saw a tweet today that saying that Caleb Burton could possibly enter the portal, that this guy thinks that he could go in, and I hope not, because I think Caleb is a guy that we absolutely need this fall. I think he's a playmaker. I think he's sure-handed, and I think he moves the sticks. There's a guy that he's gonna for sure hands catch the football, get the first down. He's not gonna blow you away, and he's not gonna make a lot of people miss, but he's gonna catch the football when it's thrown to him. So those two guys, Dustin, I was really pleased with.
Yeah, I mean, Cam was the guy that we all talked about before the spring started, right? And said, all right, bro, he got Perry Thompson coming in. You got Cam Coleman in here. You got some outside threats coming in. Can you hold it down? And then we heard about his practice reports being good and all that. And we said, okay, I want to see it on 8A. And then he does it on 8A. So I think that Cam Brown is a really good choice there. Like we said about Bryce Cain, I'm going to go with Robert Lewis also on the wide receiver position, because I think that after what we saw last year with our portal wide receivers, I think we all just kind of measured our expectations. And Robert Lewis said, hey, I'm not Shane Hooks. I'm not Jair Shorter. I'm not that, okay? I'm going to come in here. I'm going to compete, and I'm going to be that dude. And look, we can all rant and rave about how great Cam Coleman is, and we can talk about how good Perry Thompson's going to be, but he's not on campus yet. It was important for Robert Lewis, I think, to step up and say, I can be this number 2 option, man. And I think he showed that he's not just a slot guy. I think that him and Caleb Burton kind of might have the same game. And I've seen the same stuff about Caleb Burton. I've seen Jay Fair's name float out there as well. Listen, I'm more so on like one Caleb. If I had to pick one of the two, I would, all in on Caleb Burton staying. Sure. And my thing with that is like, Caleb, where are you going to – I don't think you're going to go anywhere else, buddy, where you got this good of an opportunity, like a situation. The coaching staff has raved about playing ability. They talked about last year. He's practiced so good, we have to put him in the rotation, and he was just hurt this year. So or this spring, excuse me. So I'm really hoping, man, that's not the decision that he makes. I'm hoping that some other teams aren't in there kind of messing with him and all that. And it's one of the things too, where you just transferred last year, buddy. Let's stay out of school a little bit. Let's lock in. And then I listened to our guy, Charlie 5, who stay tuned. We're going to try to have him on later in the week. I listened to him today on Locked On with Zach, and they talked about how, I think it was Blackerby had made the point that he thinks that Holden's at least going to stay till he gets his degree. So it doesn't look like, according to his intel, that Holden will be transferring, that he wants his degree from Auburn. And that means a lot to him. And he's 1 year away from it.
Respect it.
Yeah. So, I mean, all these kids have different motivation, right? So, but I'm really hoping that Caleb makes that decision, man, to stay in this room, because you're going to be a guy that we're going to count on. You're going to get reps. And I don't see a situation out there, Blake, like, where is Caleb Burton going to go? What's better than what you got here? Maybe somebody offers some more NIL money, right? But, like, ultimately, the reps are here for you, dude. The reps are here for you. You've been here for a year. Now's your time. Don't go jump in another system and have to restart with another staff. Now's your time, man. I saw that today, and I was like, Caleb, please don't do that, man. Not just the Auburn fan in me, but just pulling for the kid. Like, stay in this room, man, and make something happen.
Dustin, I'll throw one out there that I was really pleased with, and I know it didn't pop in the 8A game. We didn't run the ball well, but the emergence of Jeremiah Cobb at that 2-back, him getting that second call. Look, I think you're going to see more and more of him. I just think that kid is elite, and we called for it a ton last year, and it never really happened. Yeah. But get this man the football. Get him in space. Use him in the screen game. Do whatever you got to do. Put the ball in his hands. He is an electrified playmaker. And look, I made a comparison a couple months ago. He's that slippery cat, man, that he kind of reminds me of Reggie Bush, where not as electrifying as Reggie, obviously, but he can make people miss, and it's just one cut to the crib. And Auburn needs that in their offense, man. We got to put up points this year. Our defense is going to bring it. From what I saw at A-Day, I think we're going to have a stout defense. And we just got to put up points. That was one of the things that killed us last year. Is we just couldn't score.
You want to answer Ant's question here? He's asking over tomorrow.
Yeah, I do believe so. I'm 100% bought in. I'm 100% bought in on Jeremiah Cobb over Damari. Look, Damari runs hard now. I'm not. Damari's going to get his touches. I don't want to see him hit the portal or anything. I think he's fully bought into Auburn. But Jeremiah Cobb is different. Pass pro, everything. He's just a different type of back.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That pass protection definitely is going to play a key role into it. And I see that we got some interest in the running back that's out there in the portal, right? I saw some of that going around on Twitter today. So that makes you wonder, Petit flirted with it last time. Does he go back? Is there a move that happens there? From everything that I've kind of heard, Blake, asking around, I've been told, the biggest names I've kind of heard is like Caleb Burton, Jay Fair, and then the other ones are kind of like rotation pieces. Like I know Williams, the redshirt freshman edge, entered today. I didn't want to see that one either because I feel like it's a wide open competition here. And he had a good A-Day, and he had a good, really good A-Day actually. But I mean, he sees Joe Phillips and Jamonte Wilder, and all these cats in there. So you definitely got to think that that's part of the equation there. And it comes back and says, I can't see that a healthy Damari is better than Quez in my opinion. And I'll let Blake respond. I'll just pop in real quick with my opinion on this one. I think they're all good. Like I don't, like Damari's a good running back. I know me and Blake talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We both kind of agree. Like Cobb just has there's another level of Cobb's game. And particularly in the passing aspect of the game, that he can kind of take it there. And he's just like Blake said, that one cut ability, bang, to the crib, touchdown. Auburn doesn't have to put together 6-7 play drives right here. This guy can touch it and go. And I think that a lot of times last year we saw Jeremiah get hot and then we went away from him. And I would love to see, us feed that hot hand. But Ant, look, me personally, I think all three of them are really good, and I think they all can do different things. So I think they all three can be utilized and used well.
Yeah, and I can't remember which game it was last year, but we saw Jeremiah on that angle route out of the backfield. He catches it, makes a cut, walks into the end zone, and we never saw it again. It was just gone. Never, not another time. I don't ever remember seeing it again. And it's just one of them things where you got to get him the football, Dustin. He's electrifying, man. So one thing I did pick up on today is Auburn, they were in contact with the Ohio State running back, I believe, that entered the portal. So that is telling me right there, I'm just my opinion, I'm taking it that one of these guys is getting ready to enter. And Brian Petit, like you said, he did flirt with it the first time. They said that he was going to enter the portal. He ended up coming back. I think somebody, if you're in contact with another running back, I think somebody might be ready to enter that portal. So be on the lookout for that. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely got to kind of follow the breadcrumbs with some of this stuff. Brad says, and it seems like the number 2 guy has the fans thinking he's better than the number 1 guy. I remember when people said Quez was better than Tank. I've just been really high on Jeremiah Cobb since he was a junior in high school. And then he showed me enough last year to kind of believe that, hearing about the things he does in practice. And I think this is a good problem to have, Brad, because, again, I think that Quez, Damari, and Jeremiah all do different things well. And I think that you're having this discussion because you have 3 good running backs. So I just think you have 3 different talented guys. And when they're all this talented, somebody's going to say, well, I like this guy more. No, I like this guy more. It's definitely a good thing to have. So
I never understood the whole Jarquez is better than Tank thing. I never got that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was never on that boat.
Yeah, look, Jarquez can run that rock. There's no doubt about that. I think that we all kind of know the progression his game has to make at this point, right? And I'll say this in his defense too. He's been on 3 pretty bad offenses. We feel like the O line's finally kind of coming around. I see your comment,
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, about to get to it. So let's just it's that grain of salt you have to look at all the offensive players with over this little tenure that's been Auburn football. But yeah, I think they're all 3 really good running backs, and that's again, when you look at defensive back, the running back, Cadillac Williams, Zach Etheridge, steady. They were in that room for some years. They recruited that position well. That's why you have the depth pieces that you have there. And it's a good problem to have. I think all 3 of them are going to get carries, and they can all be used a certain kind of way. When Jarquez got hot last year, we went away from him as well several times. He had a stretch there with 3 or 4 games where he had over 100 yards and didn't have 20 carries in any of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Jarquez is that dude too. I'm not here to knock any of those dudes, man. I love where we're sitting in the running back room. And in today's day and age, you got to have them. You got to have a bunch of them. I'm going to get over here and get some of these comments, and we're going to talk about guys on the defensive side, Blake, because that's really where I kind of looked at and said, boy, we had some guys step up.
Absolutely.
Let's see. But I see you in here, Auburn Dad, because he says he feels like he's overlooked because I didn't get him in the intro. Auburn Dad, you were never overlooked, brother. You were always loved. You were always appreciated. You are our guy, man. You know that. My pops is in the house, and I appreciate all y'all showing my pops love.
Let's go.
Ant says, I would rather take the D lineman from Louisville. Louisville had a whole line of scrimmage into the portal today. I saw like 4 or 5 O linemen, a couple of D linemen jump in there, man. Crazy, crazy times. But yeah, and I don't know too much about that kid's game. We'll definitely check into it if he kind of visits and comes around more and more. And we'll talk about it as it comes. But if you're saying you want him, and I believe you and I trust you. Thomas says Lewis, Wade, Lou, Wright, and Miller starting O-line. Agree or disagree? I'm glad you said this, Thomas, and appreciate the $5 super chat, brother. I remember reading an article today. I wish I could give credit. I want to say it was 247. Maybe it was on 3. Y'all know I always try to give credit. I just forget. But it was somebody that was saying that Xavier Miller is kind of taking that next step. And just that he's like, he lost some weight and he feels like he's kind of ready to perform. And Jake Thornton has some really good quotes praising him. So that's another guy that we can say, he kind of stepped up this spring if that is the case. But Percy Lewis, man, me and Blake have both talked about this being such a big addition for this offensive line.
Yep.
Y'all know how I feel about Connor Lew. I think he's going to be one of the best centers in the SEC, if not the best center in the SEC this year. I'd have to kind of really look around the conference a little bit, but I hard pressed to feel like there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be more ready to roll than Connor. And then, I think the Jeremiah Wright one is the one that I look at and say, well, let's see. I thought that's kind of that one spot where, let's see how this plays out as we get into fall camp. But I will say this, Thomas, I have the least amount of concern coming into a season for an Auburn offensive line that I've had in a long, long, long time. How you feel about that, Blake?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Just looking at this group, man, there's a lot of experience in this group, and adding Percy Lewis to that tackle spot, man, I think that's a big addition. He's an SEC guy, and one thing we kind of mentioned last year is maybe don't go get a bunch of G5 guys and bring them in. Maybe go get that P5 guy, and you got Percy Lewis and you bring him in. Look, it's just. I mean, we got to call a spade, man. Sometimes you just that lower level football, it just don't transition into the SEC. We're talking about these SEC teams, man. I don't know if any of y'all have watched any of that UFL, but some of these SEC teams, they could go in that UFL and make some things shake. Okay, so it's just a different type of ball up here, all right. And I think you go attack a position through the portal, you shore it up, and now you got guys like Connor Lew that's going to anchor that offensive line. He's going to come back. He's experienced now. People are looking at him as a leader. Well, he's a sophomore. Hey, you're the guy. We're expecting big things. We're expecting all conference out of you. I think it's from last year to this year, it's just a completely different outlook of, man, that Auburn offensive line is bad. It's bad. And now you're looking at like, hey, we've got a lot of experience. We've got games played. it might not be as bad as it once was, or it has been the last 5, 6, 7 years, So it's promising, Dustin. It's promising.
Man, you just need a second to throw it to number 8. You just need a
That's
second
it.
to throw it to number 8,
That's
bro.
it.
It
That's
ain't complicated. As they say on Trailer Park Boys, it ain't rocket surgery. My guy
That's
Brad
it.
McCurdy in the building. What's up, Brad? This is my boy right here. Brad is a old school football fan, man. Brad can tell
There we
you
go.
about. Yeah, man. Brad's my guy. Pop says that Damari has been bought in since he committed way back. He's all Auburn. Respect that. Hell yeah, man. For sure, Dad.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, I think it pays off in more ways than on the field. Because when you have guys that are balled in the locker room, we all know how bad Auburn needs that. Auburn could have used a dozen more Jalen Simpsons last year, and I think the
Facts.
record would a little bit different. So,
Facts.
love Damari, love the fact that he understands competition is going to be brought into this room. And look, I made mention of this the other day. I said I'm the first to admit that I'm talking up Jeremiah Cobb, and every report that comes out is Damari balled today, Damari balled today, Damari balled today. So look, man, again, absolute stud. Glad he's at Auburn. And then Auburn dad says Damari told me on a day at an On to Victory event, he doesn't plan on leaving Auburn. He loves AU. Yeah, man, Damari is all balled in, and I would love to kind of see him finally get his chance to really open up and eat this year. And
most kids ain't built like that anymore, Dustin.
that's a fact.
Because I was listening to the baseball broadcast a while ago, and in the second inning, they were talking about they were going through Auburn and Georgia Tech's roster and just talking about the transfer portal guys. And they were like, hey, we don't know what roster that you could pull and say majority of this roster was originally committed out of high school and they signed with this school. That's just not how it is anymore. And I mean, it's out of control. It's crazy. Got to put some rules on it. We've been calling it for months. All right, we've been calling it for months. Got to put some rules and regulations on that transfer portal.
Yeah. I keep up with all the sports, Blake. You know that. I keep up with all of them, and you do as well. There's only one out there there's only one entity in college sports that has multiple portal periods or free agency periods during the season. These coaches had free agency going on when they were getting ready for bowl games / playoffs. And now post-spring, okay? Post-spring, which you talk to every coach and they're like, dude, can I just get like a March 1st deadline? Because now I got to try to put together a team that I won't see any of these guys till fall camp. I got starters on my team that I'm not going to watch take live reps in my uniform until fall camp. Come on, man. We all know how ridiculous this is, and we're all kind of sitting back hoping and praying. And honestly, today wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be. But we still got time.
It was supposed to be monumental. Apparently, all the talking heads said that it was supposed to be the biggest day in transfer portal history, but tomorrow's a new day. So
right, yeah, we might get off this live here and then see that one of our whole entire rooms is gone or something.
Yeah.
But let's hop over here to the defensive side, Blake, and I'll get your thoughts first, man. Give me some guys, and I know you had one guy in particular you want to highlight that you were really impressed with this spring.
I'm gonna start with Champ Anthony. I want to start there. A guy that went the JUCO route, and he did it the hard way. And as you see right there, 5'11", 180. Put on a little weight. I think that was one thing. Yeah, I think that was one thing that they really hammered on him. They said, hey, you want to play in this league, you got to put on the weight, dog. And I'm proud of him because this is a guy that he said when he come to Auburn, he didn't know the plan for him. He didn't know how it was going to shake out. He didn't even know that he was going to get to play. And he said that's one of the first discussions that he had is, hey, how do I get on the field? And they said, hey, you got to put on weight and you got to work your tail off. And he's done that. In JUCO, he played every position in that defensive backfield. He played the nickel. He played outside corner. He played at safety, both safety spots. I mean, he had to play everywhere in JUCO. So now you're looking, man, Auburn's blowing it. Auburn's blowing it. So now you look, you need a guy. Champ Anthony's your guy. He can play any one of those spots. I think he's going to be at the nickel or the star or whatever whatever they call it this year. They're changing it up and all that good stuff. So DJ Durkin doing his thing over there, but Champ Anthony's that dude, and I gotta give him his props. He got on the field last year. He showed out a little bit. There was times he got beat in coverage, but he earned his right, man. He earned the way, and he showed out in the spring, and he just continues to get better, Dustin. So I'm extremely high on Champ. I think he's going to be a baller for us.
Yeah, and one thing that really stands out to me, the discussion with Champ, is the leadership. We
Yep.
do know that, so you got Keontae coming back, but you lost Donovan Kaufman, you lost Jalen Simpson, you lost Nehemiah Pritchett, you lost
Yep.
Puckett, you lost a lot of guys that have played a lot of reps back there in the secondary, and were the leaders. And you've really
Yep.
heard about how Champ Anthony has stepped up, kind of taking that torch from Jalen and being like, "Hey, we're going to come to practice on time, and when we get to practice on time, we're going to do things the right way while we're here." And I mean, just look at the picture. I
Yep.
mean, look at his body looks night and day from what it did last year. That's a guy that's taking it serious. That's a
Yep.
guy that knows that I've got a Travis Scott and a Colton Hood and all these young cats that I could go on for days, right? Kay and Lee. I could go on for days about the guys that we have that are young in that secondary and that are ready to kind of make their mark. And for him to step in and in that crowded, talented room and step up and be a leader. And then as we watch our baseball team blow a 7-0 or 8-0 lead, they're about to blow. This is a point that you can tie to all sports. There's leadership off the field, which is very important, but there's also leadership on the field. And what I mean by that is you can talk. You can be a great leader. You can talk all this kind of game, but if you don't produce shit, then nobody
Yep.
wants to hear from you, right? And
Yep.
that's something right now that's lacking on this baseball team. Is that even the best players don't get clutch hits with two outs, bottom of the A if you need a big hit. It doesn't happen. So Champ to step up, say, listen, I'm that leader, and then produce on the field in practice, produce at A day. So it's like it's not just talk with Champ. It's
Mm-hmm.
I'm really making it happen. I really am that dude. So yeah, this is a great pick, Blake. And I'll say this before I get to the guy that I want to highlight. Kay and Lee, big spring. We needed you to
Yep.
kind of take that number one corner spot, and he has shown that. Made some great plays at 8A, man. Looked really good,
Yep.
and we expect that he's going to be that next guy. We know there's always a DB at Auburn, and I think he's the next one,
Yeah.
right, to kind of take the reins there. And then I struggled, Blake. I struggled with these two guys and which guy I wanted to highlight. But Robert Woodyard, my guy, Robert
Okay.
Woodyard, bro, stepping up and doing his thing. I'm so proud of Robert. If you guys watched this last year, you know that I made the bold. He was my bold prediction of the year. He was going to have 75 tackles. I think I said maybe 80, somewhere in there. Obviously, he didn't come close, and he looked bad on film. He looked too slow. He didn't look like he belonged out there in the SEC. He has a completely different body. Just have heard nothing but good things about his work ethic in the offseason. He's taking it
Yep.
serious. He's determined to say, I'm not a bust. I am that dude. And then we saw him make that play in the backfield. Man. He looks like a different athlete. And it was, again, I really love to hear these reports as practice goes on throughout camp and then see it happen on the field, man. It makes me say, okay, bro, like you showed up today. You were ready to do it when it came
Yep.
time to do it in the stadium. So shout out to Robert Woodyard. I almost picked you, buddy. I'm pulling for a big year, and I'm really, really happy for him. But I went with our guy, Amaris Williams, Blake, and I did so
Yeah.
because of need, because we have to have somebody on the end. And I'm not sure, if he's going to play that buck position and all that Durkin, what exactly is Durkin going to do with all that? I know we got the young cats out there and Joe Phillips and all that as well. So Amaris might be playing more of a traditional end type position. He might do some edge stuff as well, but either way, he's going to be out there on the edge of the defensive line, and we're going to need him to generate pass rush. And man, when you have SEC coaches, right? Like, there was only one guy they talked about like this last year, Blake. They talked about two guys on the line of scrimmage last year before it ever kicked off. On the offensive side, the coaches said, Connor Lou's that dude. We're going to use him this year. And they said, Keldrick Falk is that dude. We're going to use him this year. It's the same kind of discussions about Williams. They're saying, no, he's that dude. And we're going to use him this year. Immediately. Day one, Amaris Williams is going to have to step up. He's going to have to generate pass rush because I got your comment over here. I had somebody's comment start. Give me just a second. And, well, hold on. So here we go. Brad says, off topic. I'm going to pull it on topic, Brad. But I went back and watched last year's AU versus Ole Miss game. Guys, it seems like years have gone by, and third and Auburn is still a thing. I'm going to add some words for you, Brad. Now you're going to get in the living room with me. Can't get off the damn field.
Yep.
And it's maddening. I started texting Blake in the middle of games last year and saying, if I was the opposing offense, I would knee the ball on first and second down. Because you're better off just saving those 2 reps and not getting hurt and throwing that thing on 3rd and 14 versus Auburn. Because that's the money down. That's where you'll get us. And why did that happen, folks? Because there was nobody. When Jalen McLeod was hurt, there was nobody to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. If Amaris Williams can get us, 6 sacks and create some pressure, what a freshman campaign that would be. And we talked about it, dude. We said, listen, and we're going to talk about it all summer as far as measuring your expectations for this Auburn team. There are a lot of young pieces at a lot of key positions. And we all talked about, look, there's going to be guys on the defensive line that have got to come in day one and be ready. There's got to be them, because if you think about it, if you start naming them off, I'm like, damn, we're going to be playing a lot of freshmen down there, true freshmen or red shirt. But either way, there's a lot of young cats. And for this guy to come in and I'm going off what the coaching staff has been saying. And then obviously what we saw in the stadium, and it's kind of hard to, when the quarterbacks aren't live, you don't get to see a whole lot of it. But like, man, for him to have that camp, a big time flip, a big time recruiting win that you were able to get from Florida, top 150 player, no matter where you looked. And then for him to it's like, oh, he's that dude, and we've all, if you've been following Auburn recruiting for a while, you know what it's like to get these big guys in here and then them not be that dude. Well, Blake, I'm here to make the case today that since Hugh Freeze has been at Auburn, they're starting to stack up.
Yep.
Okay. Cam Coleman, obviously that dude. I just mentioned Connor Liu, Keldrick Fogg. They showed you they were that dude. We could go down the list of some of these young cats that are already showing, hey, I'm ready to go. But because of need, because of what we have to have, pressure on the quarterback, to Brad's point, to get out of this third and Auburn mindset, our guy Amaris Williams, man, it really makes me feel good to say, all right, here's a young cat that we can build around that's going to come in day one and get pressure after the quarterback. And then just shout out to like Sylvester Smith, Colton Hood, all those young DBs, because anytime, every couple of days, I would check with a couple of different people from, we obviously got our sources here at the War Report Network, but we talk to guys from other networks too, and try to get their feel and everything so we can collect different opinions. And when you're getting the same names back, it feels good. And then like with the DBs, it was every day, right? Like multiple DBs. I was getting like 4 or 5 guys. This guy ball. I'm like, what about Terrence Love? Oh, played great. Cool. What about Sylvester Smith? Playing great. What about Colton Hood? Oh, he's doing great. Did you know he also went over there with the baseball team and looked really athletic? Like, we got dogs out there, bro. We got dogs back there. And you got 2 of the best in the game, and Coach McGriff and Charles Kelly coaching them. So like that whole defensive back room as a whole, man. And then also just an honorable mention to Malik Blockton, because again, we need D linemen to play. And there's been enough reports now saying Malik Blockton is going to play, not going to redshirt, going to be a guy that gets reps. We know that we need DJ Reed to step up and be a guy. We're hearing, hey, DJ Reed's going to be ready to go. So, Blake, I come out of the spring, man, and I think our audience, I think we've built up enough equity. I hope with our audience now, you guys know we keep shit real, bro. We're not going to come out here and just pump something up your butt because it's something that you want to hear. And Lord knows I want a bug. Okay, I love it. I love nothing more to bug, but you got to give me a reason to bug, right? You got to give me a reason to bug. I bugged pretty hard on our basketball team all season. Now they crapped the bed, but they gave us a reason. They gave us a reason to bug. Man, I got reasons to bug, bro. Coming out of spring, it's everything that I'm expecting right now. I know my expectations are 30, 40, 50% of this team is going to be getting underclassmen, getting significant reps. They're going to make mistakes. They're gonna we're gonna have to take our lumps with them. It is what it is. But damn it, Blake, I see young talent everywhere flashing, bro.
Yep. I see the same thing, and I also want to be that same guy that wants to boog and wants to sit here and say, hey, Auburn's going 9-3. I want to be on that same level with you, Dustin. Like I want us to be able to get on here and be able to celebrate a post-game pod with a dub over the Georgia Bulldogs. I want us to be able to get on here and not have to worry about losing to Mississippi State, and things like that, like teams that we just have no business losing to, or New Mexico State, or things like that. You brought up a great point with the recruiting and stacking talent, and I saw an interaction on Twitter today, and it said, everybody pump the brakes on Juju Lewis, the 5-star quarterback currently committed to the USC Trojans. Pump the brakes on Juju Lewis. Why would a 5-star quarterback want to come here? Look, I'm one of those. I'll believe it when I see it. All right? Because Auburn has had terrible luck in bringing top-notch quarterbacks. All right? I get it. But it's different with Hugh Freeze. It's different. He brought in a top 10 recruiting class and went 6-7. All right? Kids want to come play for him. They see what he's doing. Juju's, it's 2 schools. All right? It's 2 schools. They want to play for Hugh. They feel him. They get him. They get what he's doing. You're seeing these young cats get in here. They're working. The culture's changing. So, yeah, we want to get on here and boog. We want to have a great time because I honestly do feel like it's different. That's why I didn't get on here last year and give Hugh a terrible time and just all on his neck about losing this game, that game. Is because we weren't good, and he told us that at the very beginning before the season ever started. He sat at the microphone and said, hey, we suck. And obviously, like Dustin always says, fanatics. All right, fan is short for fanatic. So what did we do? Oh, we don't suck, That's terrible. That's just coach talk. He's just saying that. No, he was telling the truth. We got to stack talent, and we're doing it. And these young cats, they're going to get on the field this year. They're going to play a lot of snaps. They're going to play in a lot of big-time games, like the one Oklahoma coming to town. You're going to see freshmen on the field. They're going to make mistakes. But you got to win some football games this year. You got to make enough plays. You got to beat somebody that you haven't beat in a minute. You gotta change the mindset of Auburn around the country. Everybody takes this as a joke, man. Kool-Aid McKinstry, they released that clip. Everybody takes this as a joke, and we sit here and we talk about negative recruiting. They do that on purpose, man. They get Kool-Aid to sit down and do that on purpose. It's all negative recruiting against Auburn. Hey, how can we keep Auburn down in the dumps? We can get Kool-Aid to make this little 20-second clip of saying, hey, I was about to commit to Auburn and then woke up and said, hell nah. Well, you know what? They all, oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. I thought it was lame. Like, why are you still talking about Auburn? You're a couple days away from the NFL draft. Why are you still worried about Auburn? We got to change the mindset of people. Look, Dustin always brings it up all the time. A lot of recruits, we hear it. They go inside the home, they sit down, and they see Auburn as a basketball school. Because these kids, they weren't really watching college football when Cam Newton was running the show and Nick Marshall was running the show. They were 7, 8 years old. All right? It was a long time ago. So, they're all Auburn wants to talk about is a Final Four run that happened 5 years ago, so they're sitting here saying, hey, Auburn's a basketball school. I mean, we got to flip the script. That's the reason we changed the letters on the hat. Flipped them upside down. We got to flip the script. So it starts this year, and I'm not saying we're going to sit here and go 10-2 or whatever, 11-1 and make the college football playoff. But I do think coming out of that 8A game and what happens in the portal, I do think we might be a little better than what I expected. I was sitting here, 7-5. Look, we might get to that 8-win mark. We might get to possibly to that 9-win mark. quarterback has a lot to do with it, but we got some athletes, Dustin, and I ain't gonna shy away from getting on here and acting like we're as bad as we once were. I think we got some dudes on this roster.
Yeah, and Connie, speaking your language, she's making a point that you've been making for a couple months here.
Yep.
5 straight home games with these freshmen are huge, and it kind of speaks to just fast start for Auburn. You got to come out 4-1. You know what I mean? Come out that thing 4-1. Don't come out there 3-2, bro. 4-1. It's very, very doable. Obviously 5-0 would be great. I'm trying to be somewhat, realistic here, but listen, man, Connie, this is a great point, and for sure, and for the confidence of our offense, getting in there, looking good early in those first 5 home games before you finally go out on the road and kind of face those SEC road crowds and all that. So yeah, hot start, definitely going to be big time for us. Definitely going to be big time for them freshmen.
5-0, Dustin. 5-0. Hey, 5-0. Cal, stomp them. We owe Cal something. We owe him some. Arkansas, don't let Sam Pittman and the little piggies come in to town and take over your trap. All right. And Oklahoma, welcome them to the SEC. Change the mindset of Auburn football, man. Welcome them to the doghouse. Say, hey, you wanted this? You thought you were big man on campus? Oh, you want to chant SEC when you sneak us in a Sugar Bowl and all this? Guess what? Now you got to come to Jordan-Hare. Spank them, cuz. Change the mindset. Go into Athens 5-0 and give their ass a game. Give them something. Have them on the ropes. I want to change it.
If Auburn beats Oklahoma at home, that will light a fire up under my Auburn football fanhood that I want to be lit, bro. That I want to be, you know what I mean? Like I want to feel that. So that would definitely be awesome. Thomas says, as soon as Woodyard lost that baby fat, he got so much better. Thomas, these boys are working, man. Like, and this is the reason why you kind of, if you could sense a little bit of a change in my mood about this team, it's that the reports are a lot different than what me and Blake heard last year at this time. It was it is, hey man, these kids are working hard and they want to be successful at Auburn. And that is a culture change that is happening before our eyes. And I can't I can't stress enough how much that shows up on 3rd and 2 in the 4th quarter. I always knew it did, but man, in the year that we've been doing this, I have learned that so much. Just I knew it being around sports. I've been on teams that were close and saw teams that were close overachieve, but I always kind of felt like, you get in the SEC level, pro level and all that. And as long as you can just make it work with a guy, you don't have to like him. And that's true to an extent. But man, everyone's got to be chasing a common goal. You got to show up on time. You got to do the little things. Like Q says, stay off the list. And I think that we're going. We're moving in the right direction. So yeah, Thomas, a lot of what you're talking about here with Robert, I'm really happy for him, man, because this is a guy that had to make it happen this spring. Had to make it happen. Because you know what? Me and Blake were talking about this before we hit record because there's some basketball conversation going on. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what it is. But these guys, man, they're getting paid like professionals now, right?
Yep.
And Josh Pate mentioned this the other day. He said an unintended consequence of this is now you got cut day. And it's cut week for some guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got to go because your NIL money's got to go over here now. You wanted to be treated like pros. Something Blake said before we hit record. You want to be treated like pros. You're going to get treated like pros. So it's cut week. And Robert Woodyard was on that cut and block. Okay. How they got that 53-man roster. You ever watch Hard Knocks? And that last week of preseason, and there's about 5-6 guys sweating it. Robert Woodyard was there. He solidified himself. He ain't going home on cut week, man. And I really am proud of him, man. And it is tough too coming out of a senior year, a highly touted prospect like that out of your area, Blake. He gets a big knee injury. You're starting behind. You're starting SEC college football coming off of a major knee injury. You're starting the race in a bad position, man. I cannot tell y'all how happy I am to see Robert coming up, man, and finding his game.
I ain't going to say too much on this because I know you might want to have a little something to say about it at the end of the show closing out, but don't tell me I can't criticize somebody when they're making more money than me, and they're in college playing basketball.
Yeah,
All right,
listen.
and don't hit me with he's an Auburn man. Well, he's not an Auburn man because he's taking a visit to Alabama.
Right.
So don't hit me with that. Don't get my boy Dustin's replies and say, oh, well, you shouldn't be so hard on him. He's an Auburn man. No, he's not. He's taking a visit to Alabama. Do you think they feel the same way about Antonio Kite? They don't sit there and say, well, he picked Alabama. No, they're saying, hey, traitor. All right, you went to Auburn. Corey Grant, traitor. You went to Auburn. All right. We got people sitting here saying, oh, don't be so tough on Aiden. All right, the shot will come. All right, well, it never did. So that's my criticism is, hey, it didn't work. Good riddance. I hope you do great. But when you do go to Alabama, when you take that visit and go to Alabama, all right, it's over. Yeah. When you get into Neville Arena, it's on. I don't want to hear none of the tweets of, oh, don't boo Aiden. Don't boo Aiden. He chose us out of high school. I don't want to hear all that. Boo. Boo him. It's sports, period. All right? I got to take up for my dude Dustin right there. That one got me today.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. Look, it's all about the ball, okay? Never going to attack a person personally. Never going to go out of the game. You can't pull a clip. You can't find a tweet of me ever calling somebody out of their personal business or anything like that and talking about your game. You shoot 31% from the field. You were unplayable in the tournament. Points I made throughout the season about Aiden has to pick it up or this will happen turned out to be the case. So, if you don't play well and you're getting paid to play well, we are allowed to say you didn't play well. And furthermore, a lot of you guys, y'all played high school sports. A lot of y'all in the comment played high school sports. Were your stats not put up in the local newspaper?
Yeah, exactly.
Ours were. So if I shoot over 10 from the field, they're gonna be they'll put it in the paper. It is what it is. So at some point we do got to kind of grow up with all this. And our guy Troy says, man, this baseball team is something else. We will do an episode. We'll do an episode sometime this week, man. Just kind of touching on. I guess we can look at the numbers and just kind of talk about why it is what it is. At this point, man, it's just getting outrageous. Brad says that Amaris looked like a freaking stud out there at A-Day. Yes, sir, because the kid is a stud, man. It's big time. And then Auburn Dad says if we don't get help at edge, we are one injury away from a long year. Yeah, this is what we've been talking about, right? Biggest concern, and Hughes said it in the last 2 or 3 press conferences I've seen him at, talking about depth on that defensive line. You mentioned edge. I agree with you. I would like to go get a guy. I just don't expect that guy to show up in this spring portal. Like, pass rushers are at a premium. We all know that. I don't know which ones are really going to come open, But I like the young rotation that we have. Listen, I'll say it again, guys, because I'm going to say it so much y'all can make a T-shirt out of this. But if Joe Phillips and Jamonte Waller and all those guys are getting reps this year, and at times it's a struggle,
yeah,
I'm gonna be okay with it. It's not going to be fun some Saturdays. It's not. But you're talking about blue chip guys, and what's the alternative? We tried the other thing last year. We went and got all the other guys from the portal and tried to fill it out that way. And you got a bunch of mercenaries that didn't want to be at Auburn. You give me the young guys that take pride in putting on that triple stripe. And then I can live with the rest of it. I can live with the growth. So that's just kind of where I stand on it.
Last year they were just trying to get in the league, Dustin. They were just trying to. That's it. That's what, when you go to the portal and you stack up on the portal and you're doing all these things, like we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, you also cause controversy in your locker room, all right? Because all those cats last year were saying, well, what about us? You're going to get this guy. That means you're telling me I suck. So it's a tough pill to swallow, man. That's why Hugh doesn't want to live out the portal, because you don't want to create that friction in the locker room, and you also don't want guys coming in and saying, well, hey, I'm just here for a year. I want to put up my numbers, and then I'll go to the league. So build it out of high school, man. Do it the right way.
Yeah, for sure. Brett says up-tempo game needs to be OU. We all need to be there. Try and get our own
Yeah.
section. We might be louder than the students. Hey, listen, Oklahoma coming to Auburn for the first time. You can bet your ass I'll be there, brother. So, yeah, we'll definitely, Brett, as the season comes on, man, we'll definitely work around some kind of meetup, some kind of get up. Unfortunately, getting tailgate spots in the college game right now is a whole adventure in itself, but we can definitely try to work something out, man. We got the whole summer to get on that. So
Just meet me at Mama G's. Just meet me at
Hey,
Mama G's.
yeah, for sure. Well, it would be cool if we could all meet up at Tumors again if they're toilet paper in the trees. But you got to score more points than the other team to do that. Michael
That's a
King with a
fact.
very good point. He says only 15 likes. Come on, guys. Let's boost these likes
Yeah.
up. We got a good crowd in here. And Thomas was watching our member breakdowns. He says if Aiden goes to Bama, I hope he never sets his feet again. Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. You
It's a
can't
fact.
look. There's not a lot of swapping either way, right? And so it's something that is very rare that it happens. I will say I love the SEC's current portal rule for football.
Yep.
You can't transfer within conference. I absolutely love that. It's good. We're too far down the line, man. The next time these kids get in pads, it'll be a month away from the season. It'll be start of fall camp. It's just too far down the line. I do like that. Yeah, I got you, Brett. I got you. He says, "We didn't getting tickets together. Yeah, we'll definitely work something out." Before we get out of here, guys, go over, click that link in the description. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Barner Supply Company. They got tons of good gear over there, man. They got the hats, the t-shirts, the hoodies. They got it all going on. Go check out our guy, Matthew. Follow him on Twitter. He's constantly updating, when he's dropping new merch. They're killing the game over there. Very, very unique concept. And I love them, man. They're doing good work over there. And then Blake, not only are we sponsored by the Barner Supply Company tonight, but we're sponsored by our members, all of our lovely members here, the Up Tempo Game. And Blake, if people are interested in signing up, tell them what they'll get, bro.
Get that $3.99 a month JV Squad package if you're interested in that. Early access to videos, priority reply to comments like you see tonight. We will get you guys in here, get you on the screen, answer all your questions. If you want to go a step further, $5.99 a month, that varsity squad package, that recruiting update videos. Dustin hammers those home, 1 to 2 a week. And then we got the game day group chat. Absolutely love the group on Twitter. It's awesome. We do a little watch the film, basketball, football, baseball, all that good stuff. Gameplay with you. We are so close to College Football 25. Extremely close. We got the date, July 19th. We're going to be kicking it up over there on the War Report Gaming channel. Dustin doing a Road to the Show and MLB The Show right now. Go over there, subscribe, like, share the content to Twitter, Facebook, whatever you got. Do the whole thing for us, man. We greatly appreciate it. We love each and every one of y'all. And just rocking with us, and talking to us every day on social media. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, man, you guys are the best for sure. We couldn't do it without you guys. You keep the lights on here at the Up Tempo Podcast, like Blake said. We love all of you, man. And when it comes to that gaming, I think it's July 29th, right? We got a date on NCAA dropping. For our members, we're going to do online dynasty. We might say, hey, everybody pick a team in the Big Ten or pick a team in the Pac-12 and let's roll, man. So we got a ton of ideas, tournaments and all that. So you're definitely going to want to be on that. For our members, be on the lookout tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be dropping a pod. I'm going to make it available for JV and varsity. It's going to be going to touch on everything, right? We got a little stuff going on with basketball. We got some stuff going on with recruiting, obviously. We know that Longstreet committed to A&M, and then the Juju smoke kind of popped up. So I'll kind of tell y'all what I know about that. Spoiler alert, the smoke is real. People do want to throw to Cam Coleman, okay? They watched Cam Coleman at A-Day. They said, oh, boy, I would like to throw to that. We got a kid in the 26 class in gray. That kid is a dog. A 25 QB knows I got that kid to throw to. We got some receivers on the board currently that who's going to bring them in, man. So the Juju smoke is real for sure. And then I'll give my thoughts. I was out of town when you did the last baseball episode, so I'll kind of give my thoughts on just what's all going on with that as well. And I'll close out on this since I kind of rounded out with you. So members, be on the lookout for that. Tomorrow I'll record it, and then when Blake gets home, he can upload it and do all that kind of stuff. So sometime tomorrow afternoon, you guys will be getting that. And since I talked about all the sports, Blake, I'm going to finish out with my closing thoughts here. You kind of You said what needed to be said about the whole situation, the whole Aiden Holloway situation. I'm gonna give a shout out to our golf team, man. Shout out to the Auburn golf team, bro, because not only are they dominating right now, but it's on a whole nother level. Blake, you're a golf guy. How many strokes did they win by today?
34 strokes, which is absolutely unheard of. Incredible.
Yeah, man. So I just want to give a shout out to them guys. I see y'all. You're doing great work, and I promise you, if Auburn's competing in something, I'm paying attention. I'm pulling for them Tigers. So one thing's for sure, I've been saying lately, hey, I can't wait for Auburn to kind of get to the summer here. I think our athletics need a reset. But when it comes to horses and it comes to golfing, baby, you ain't touching us. So subscribe, man. Hit that like, and I'll pass it to you, brother. War damn.
I want to give a shout out to the women's softball team.
Ooh.
Getting a series dub over LSU. Big shout out to them. The Deanster steps away and he steps down, and all of a sudden you start winning a couple series, and you get some motion in the program. All right, so I thought he should have been out last year, and it could have been a much better year, but he stepped away. This at the end of the year is his final calling, and we'll be under a new regime next year, and hopefully we can get back to winning in softball. So I will be up there in a couple weeks. My wife's cousin Jayla Lassiter is the starting center fielder for the Ole Miss Rebels. Ooh. So they will be coming to town, and it's tough to see her on the other side because she wanted to be on this side. And, she's freshman All-American last year and all that good stuff. So it kind of stings on that softball side a little bit. But I will be up there, and we'll be having a good weekend. So, shout out to the softball team. Congrats on the series win.
Yeah, good stuff. Madison says Aiden just committed. So we're going to get out of here. But you can put in the comments, Madison, if you have time, telling us where he committed to. I'm assuming Bama because that was all the smoke. But y'all can better, and that's part of the member pod tomorrow. We're going to look at some of the Pegues film, the Furman point guard that came in. So we'll definitely look at some of his highlights tomorrow on our member pod.
He just committed to Alabama.
Okay.
Is that because? Man, I don't.
We're not getting a reply in the comments. So listen, we're not saying that he did. We're trying to figure it. Someone could comment. But look. As I said this last week, we're going to do a basketball episode soon. Let's let all the pieces kind of fall in play because, we don't want to have an episode where we're just sitting here speculating. Let's see how all this falls in, and then we'll do a basketball episode kind of talking about how we feel about how everything's sitting. And for our members, I'll have some basketball talk coming for you tomorrow. We'll definitely look at some film of our new point guard, Madison Clare, and everything before we get out of here. Misinformation, folks. No commitment yet. Okay. Fake news. Yeah, it happens out there on the Twitterverse, Madison. It happens to all of us.
It's all good.
Yeah, listen. Good. The troll game's heavy out there in the Twitterverse.
I was on the phone. Almost had me going, getting heated real quick.
AU's new commitment. Okay, yeah. Well, we're going to look at his film tomorrow and see what Auburn's got going on at the point guard position. So, War Damn Eagle, get over there to SEC Network. Baseball teams in a dogfight. Old school rivalry versus Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. We currently lead 9-7. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Listen, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, we'll be back. Should have a special guest, and it's going to be a fun episode. So, we're doing these things every Thursday night as well. Put us on your calendar, man. Choose our Thursday night, 7 p.m. We'll see y'all then, man. We're out of here. War damn, baby.
War damn.